What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. It's Friday. I suppose if I'm releasing this video on Saturday, it might be Saturday, but I think it's probably going to be Friday. Sometimes on Fridays, here's a little secret of the trade. I like to work ahead so that I can keep my Saturdays to myself. That's not always the case. Sometimes there isn't enough news, but Jussie Smollett is the fountain that giveth more and more hilarity and more cringe. If you saw yesterday, Jussie Smollett escaping jail with 745 bodyguards surrounding him because he's totally a high-value target, and everyone needs to see that. That's why he hires all these bodyguards to walk around him like he's the president or something like that. But the case is actually far from over, and he just got some very, very bad news today. News I'm going to share with you after a quick word from this video's sponsor. He may want to change his name, so this may be a good product for Jussie too. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. They allow people to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so they can call themselves a lord or a lady officially. In return, they commit to plant a tree with every order and protect the beautiful, pristine woodlands of Scotland. Established Titles makes an absolutely amazing gift, and a person could officially get their name changed on documents. Their title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate and an official certificate with a crest. Established Titles is currently having a really big sale just for you, my subscribers. You can get an additional 10% off any purchase you make with the discount code TheQuartering. So click the link below, go to establishedtitles.com/thequartering and use promo code TheQuartering to save an extra 10% today. Now, there's this article in the New York Times. The Jussie Smollett case is probably far from over, analysts say. After serving 6 days of a 5-month sentence, the Juice Meister walked out of Cook County on Wednesday night, flanked by supporters who shepherded him into the back seat of an SUV. Those weren't supporters. Those were supposed to be like his big bodyguards. Was not some of those people were his family? I don't know. The appellate, whether or not Jussie is forced to return to jail in Chicago to complete a sentence is a question that is not likely to be answered for months or possibly years. Think about that. You're just trying to get on with your life and move on and stuff. You know, this is why the clown should have just did his time. He's going to fight about this case for another 2 years. His life is going to be a completely different place in 2 years. And then he's always going to have this potential jail sentence hanging over his head. This is actually an L, getting out of jail now. That's what I think. This is a huge L. He should have just did his time. He could have came out and wrote a book about how he's converted. Now he's a Muslim, and how he totally kung fu fought all the various gangs in prison and jail. And then he had a jailhouse romance. He could write just a ton of books and screenplays, but no, he's choosing, because his ego won't let it go. He's choosing the absolute worst route. The court will be unable to dispose of the instant appeal before the defendant would have served his entire sentence of incarceration, according to the court's order, which was signed by two of three justices on the panel. Legal experts in Illinois differed on how common it was for defendants to be released on the appeal when they had been ordered to serve a relatively short jail sentence and their offenses were non-punchy. Let's say they reverse his conviction. He just did the 150 days for nothing, said Gal Pitsky, a criminal defense lawyer with experience in appellate cases. That's true. The appeals process tends to drag on because of the time it takes for the court to prepare the voluminous transcripts from the trial and from partial proceedings and requests to delay proceedings. There are also typically a backlog of cases waiting to be heard. In 2020, there were more than 3,300 cases pending with the First District Appellate Court in Illinois, where Jussie's case was assigned. There are a lot of cases. It's always been that way, said Joseph Lopez, a criminal defense lawyer who has represented high-profile defendants like Drew Peterson, who was also very, very evil. Experts say that Jussie's case could proceed faster than normal because it's so high profile, and the special prosecutor handling the case, Dan K. Webb, is from a private law firm that is better equipped than the state's prosecutor office to focus on a special case to make the sort of timely filings that would require an accelerated decision. Look, I actually understand kind of the perspective or the position of like, bro, like, I only got a 3-week sentence and I'm going to appeal this and I have the money to appeal it. I don't want to serve that if I'm going to beat the case. I do understand that. But I still think it would have been a better play for Jussie to serve the time, come out, show some contrition, make a ton of money on your reunion, your freedom tour, right? Reinvent yourself, get back to work. Now, this is just going to hang over your head for another 2 years. Nenye Uche, Mr. Smollett's lead lawyer, then quickly brought the matter to higher court. The First District Appellate Court in Illinois and Mr. Webb's legal team argued against Smollett's release, writing in court papers that according to the defense's logic, every defender who ever received a relatively short sentence would be released pending appeal, and that the defense was taking advantage of Judge Lynn's lenient jail sentence. I agree with that. Ultimately, judges have the discretion to decide these matters on case-by-case basis. Experts say that it's common for defendants to serve their entire sentence of incarceration before their appeal is even resolved. Something that critics often condemn as a particularly unfair of the appellate court ends up overturning the trial court's decision. Well, yeah, I would say that that's unfair. If you appeal and win and then you did the time, that sucks. Like, I get that. I totally understand why the Juice Meister is doing this. He wants to be on the loose, but the people of Chicago, they need to be safe. I mean, Jussie's attackers back out on the streets, and that's something very, very, very concerning. Now, he also released that he hadn't been eating. He was only drinking, quote unquote, we're told all he ingested is water. And while I was planning to keep that up until Lent ended on April 17th, bull. He was going to go a month without eating food? I don't think so. He's taking things, quote, one day at a time. Yeah, now that he's out, he's probably going to be eating at a 5-star restaurant. You get that, right? Like, his fasting for, quote, spiritual reasons was just a press thing. Now that he's out, he's not going to keep that up. There's no way. Our sources say that Jussie remains in good spirits, noting that this is not a hunger strike or a protest. Remember, he made a point repeatedly to say during a sentence that he wasn't having thoughts of self-harm. He's nearly 2 weeks into the fast, and we're told he's still physically, quote, okay, and in good spirits. Cook County Sheriff's Office says it can't comment on religious or spiritual practices of individuals, but did say jail staff monitors all inmates to ensure their health and wellness. On Wednesday, his brother, said he had been moved out. He was on a hunger strike. But now, look at this. Just in, breaking this morning, defamation suit over a, quote, whiteface comment by Jussie Smollett's attorney allowed to proceed. A federal judge in Chicago ruled Friday that comments made by Jussie Smollett's attorney on national television 3 years ago that two black brothers might have attacked the actor while in, quote, whiteface could be construed as defamation. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Mary Rowland allows the defamation lawsuit filed by the Alcendario brothers to continue against Tina Glendian, Smollett's Los Angeles-based attorney, who made the controversial statements in an interview on the Today Show on March 28th. Whiteface? Literally? Whiteface? That's what Jussie's lawyers are going with. Whiteface? I don't even remember that. In a ruling, Rowland dismissed all other counts brought against the firm. The lawsuit alleged that in the aftermath of the controversial dismissal of Smollett's criminal case by Cook County State's attorney, corrupt loser Kim Foxx, in my opinion, which was garnering headlines around the world, the former Empire actor's high-profile legal team continued to smear the Osendario brothers. Osendario. Yeah, that's how you say that, right? On TV and in podcast interviews. The concerted media blitz was a blatant effort to paint the brothers not only as homophobic, but having an issue with race and raising their hands to people. I mean, they did say a lot of heinous things about the brothers while they tried to like squirm around and get Jussie off. Katie. Then it went on to call out the Chicago police for allegedly failing to investigate an online video that showed one of the Osundario brothers in whiteface doing a Joker monologue with white makeup on. What? You mean like Heath Ledger's Joker, which wore white paint on his face? You're calling that whiteface? What? The ruling clears the defamation count against the law firm to possibly go to trial before a jury. The Osundario's attorney said she talked to the brothers Friday morning and they were very happy with the judge's ruling. They look forward to their day in court and will continue defending themselves against other defamatory remarks. This is hilarious. The people that he paid to stage this are now suing him and suing his law firm. It's hilarious. You just can't make this stuff up. And what a great way to end the week on some amazing news topics. By the way, if you haven't yet, there's a red subscribe button down below the video. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it if you click it. I know sometimes you have to create an account or whatever, and it's a pain, but I would really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.